guys, Tracy here with my interpretation of this week's sketch from Nuts About Sketches. I'm going to be using my daughter's graduation photos, which Scott happened to have been the photographer for the photos at their school this year. And she's graduating from preschool, by the way, so so there I am. I've got my Studio Calico kit out, and I'm just looking at papers and trying to figure out a paper that's going to work with the sketch and with the photo for the background. I'm looking for some of those papers I think would be better on snapshots than on formal photos. Um, so I'm just kind of playing around. I settle on that peach colored cardstock from the kit, and I think it's by Basil. And that orange background paper with the white leaves on it is from my Mind's Eye. I think it's the Bright Side collection. And that blue paper, it's kind of a teal greenish blue with a darker blue little grid tiny pattern on it, is by Crepe Paper from the Pretty Party collection. And I'm thinking about using that striped paper, but I'm not sure that I end up using it. If I did, I didn't write it down. And so I think that letter paper is from Studio Calico. I'm realizing I didn't write down all my papers here. And I don't know who makes that striped paper because I didn't write it down. But they're all from the Studio Calico kit. I'm just trying to layer my papers in a way that they're all going to be showing. So I'm making the greenish blue paper a little bit bigger than the orange paper so that they'll layer nicely. And now I'm going to do some stamping, and I basically really wanted that stamp in that that's from the add-on of the Studio Calico kit for June. And I'm using a bunch of Stampin' Up! Inks, and I'm just stamping almost like a propeller type of shape. And in Calypso Coral, and now here in Island Indigo, and now I think that this is pumpkin spice or something, pumpkin pie, and then Lucky Limeade. These are all Stampin' Up, mostly in colors, but a couple of non-in colors from last year. And then I think that's So Saffron, the yellow that I used. And so basically I've got this giant asterisk, and then I'm going back and I'm using Pool Party, which is that light blue, to fill in all of the white spots in between. So I end up with this really full looking almost flower shape. But when I take off my paper from the middle, I have a sunburst type of shape. And I purposely had the center be a little bit off center on my paper just so that the starburst would not be even. And so I really love that, and that was kind of my whole reason for ordering that entire add-on kit, believe it or not. So I was really happy to be able to do that starburst. And now the reason I'm putting paper bag, the reason I sometimes do this extra layer is because I found the orange pattern paper peeking out between those three elements, like the photo and then the two blocks beside it. Just that white on orange pattern poking through was just a little too busy and distracting for me. So adding a layer of something really neutral like the craft paper of the paper bag is a really good way to take away that distracting element. And it kind of brings all your elements together because they're all kind of matted on that paper. Sorry about the focusing. It's because my head keeps going into frame, and the camera is focusing on my head instead of the workspace. So there's the basic layout of my design, and it's very similar to the sketch. It's just sideways, and instead of photos I'm putting other elements, like those two squares in the sketch called for photos, but I'm doing other embellishment type of elements. So here I'm just going through the Studio Calico die cuts that came with the kit, and I'm having a look at which ones fit for the colors I have going on. And that's a cat scrappiness cloud, that felt cloud, and that's a My Mind's Eye pin, stick pin in it from the Studio Calico kit. But at the last minute, when you see the photos, you'll notice that I changed out the pin at the last minute into a darker blue just to kind of coordinate with the blue in her gown and cap. So now I want to stamp on, I want that striped paper to be a journaling square, and so I'm trying to decide which of those two Amy Tan stamps I'm going to use. I'm just going to use that post-it note as a mask, so I want to stamp off that element, but it's already glued to the paper, so I didn't want to stamp onto the picture, so I just used the post-it note there. Now that ruler strip there is just a leftover from an Echo Park piece of ruler paper from last month's kit. And now I'm using my Stampin' Up! Scallop border to cut a border for the right hand edge. I'm just going to layer in the ruler and that border and a strip of stars. And so I didn't want to outline that scallop, it would be pretty tedious, so I just inked it. And now I'm looking for yellow paper that I can use on that star, use my star border with, and that was paper that came in the kit. It was yellow with white polka dots, and the polka dots were a little distracting from the star shapes, and so I went with that's a paper from last month's kit, I believe, and it's more of a damask. It's a more subtle yellow on white pattern, and so the stars have more impact on that paper. I found I just preferred the look. So I'm just layering them all so that everything peeks out. And I don't love how this layering on the side turned out, but it's okay. And what am I doing now? More stars. Oh, right, because I'm putting stars on the other side, on the left side now, just to kind of, because I didn't want it to be too, lopsided as far as embellishments go. So I'm going to layer that strip of stars. I love that star border. It's a Martha Stewart punch that I just got, and I love it. So here it's really coming together. I have that butterfly is a canvas one, and it's by Prima, and it came in the kit this month in the SoCal kit. And now I'm just finally adhering all of my layers together. And I want to put that tab on. I got to take the little knobbies off of it first, so I'm sanding them off. And then I'm going to put a date stamp on it. And I'm actually putting her graduation date, which is tomorrow's date. So I'm sort of forward dating this one. Usually I backdate them, but I wanted to put her graduation date, not necessarily the date that the pictures were taken, because it's kind of, the pictures are taken on any random day based on the availability of the photographer, who happens to be my husband, and the school and stuff. So I wanted to put the graduation date, because that's the date we really want to remember. I'm just stapling it on there. And that's what I mean about I didn't like the way those borders turned out on that side. I just think that the date tab is a little not quite where I want it to be. I don't know what's wrong over there, but I'm not loving that side, but it's done. It is what it is. So now I'm just figuring out where I'm going to place these little butterflies. I am adhering them down. These are sequin butterflies that came in the kit, but I'm going to sew them in place. But I don't want them, because they're so slippery, I needed to glue them down first because I didn't want them, slipping all over the place when I was trying to sew them. More star border there. And I'm doing my very favorite technique, which is to fold a border punch around paper. I love that. I don't know what I love about that, because it doesn't look all that different than just cutting it, but I really like it. And so here I go with my sewing machine. Just sewing with the smallest zigzag that my machine has, so it's very tiny. And I use the black thread just for interest. So now I'm trying to finish off some of the finishing details. I am spraying that canvas butterfly. It has a resist. It has white resist on it. Sprayed it with Jingle Bells Glimmer Mist, and I think I said this before, but I have found that Glimmer Mist does not sparkle on canvas, something I discovered by accident last Christmas when I actually wanted it to sparkle, but it's actually good to know because I usually don't want things to be glimmery at this point, so I like knowing that I can use up my Glimmer Mists and not have to not waste, but use up some of my Mr. Huey's. I only have a few of them and they're about half full, so I'm getting to the point where I'm thinking about conserving. That's Letterman thickers there, which I like to use for anything sporty or school related, so graduate was a good word for that. And I'm trying to think of, I don't think I've even decided the title at this point, but at some point I think here to call it Little. And I love those Amy Tan thickers, and I just thought they would work great, so that's what I went with. I wanted something kind of casual because, I mean, it's kind of almost silly, right? Like she's clearly not a graduate. She's way too little. So I wanted the first word to be kind of playful, and to kind of like have the back and forth between the formality of graduation, but the playfulness of it being preschool that she's graduating from. So I tried to have like some formal elements and some more playful elements, like the that Amy Tan circles sketchy circle stamp down by the journaling block is a whimsical feature and that sort of thing. So I'm just outlining those letters because, that's what I do. And I'm tracing around the outsides of them as opposed to outlining the insides of them. And now there's the final product. You'll see I switched out the stick pin, and my camera is not gonna, there you go. There you go. So you can see some of the details here. And there's that new stick pin in the cloud. I really like how that picks up on her gown and cap. And there's the journaling and a bit of a close-up of that butterfly. I love that butterfly. And you can still see a bit of the print on that starburst paper, and I really like that. That's another kind of less formal element. It makes it look more kind of sketchy and thrown together. And there's that date stamp, and I did outline the tab before I stapled it on. And that's about it. So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions about what I used or why I did what I did, just feel free to give me a comment. And otherwise, I will see you guys next time.